My parents kept a secret Instagram account of me sleeping. It had over 80,000 followers. I'm not sure what I'm hoping to get out of writing this. Maybe clarity. Maybe just the satisfaction of finally putting it into words. I found out the truth about 3 months ago. But it started way before that. My name's Alex. I'm 21 now. This whole thing started, in a way, before I was even old enough to remember it. But I only recently started putting the pieces together, and once I did, I couldn't stop looking. I grew up in a pretty typical suburban house just outside Portland, Oregon. Mom worked part-time at a dental clinic, and Dad was one of those guys who always had 3 side hustles going, but no clear job title. On the surface, they were supportive, attentive, a little overbearing, but what parents aren't? I was never allowed to have social media growing up. Ever. Even when everyone in middle school had Instagram, Snapchat, even TikTok, my mom said, "It's just not safe, honey. People are crazy online." And honestly, I didn't think twice about it. I wasn't desperate for an online presence. I had a small friend group, a part-time job at the library, and enough AP classes to keep me busy. But something always felt weird, like I was being watched. I used to get this feeling in my gut, a tight little pull in my stomach, when I was alone in my room. I'd find things slightly moved. My phone charger unplugged. The curtain slightly parted. Nothing major. Nothing I could prove. I chalked it up to anxiety. Then, about a year ago, when I came back from college for winter break, I noticed my mom had a new phone. I asked about it and she said, "Oh, just an upgrade. My old one was acting up." But I'd seen that phone. I knew it wasn't her usual one. And I saw the flash of panic in her eyes when I looked too long. That was the first real crack. But I didn't go looking for anything until February, the week before my 21st birthday. It started when I was bored, alone in the house, looking for an old photo of my dad to use in a funny birthday collage. I remembered that we had a big plastic tub full of printed photos, USBs, even a couple of ancient camcorders in the attic. So I dragged it down. Inside were dozens of unlabeled flash drives, random family pictures, and an old iPhone 6 in a glittery purple case. It still had battery. I opened it. The passcode was 0407, my birthday. And what I found inside, God, I'm still not sure how to explain it. There were hundreds of photos. Thousands, maybe. But they weren't family photos. They were all of me. Sleeping. There were pictures from every year of my life. Some I could date by what I was wearing. My high school band hoodie, a summer camp shirt from 2012. Others were harder. Some were clearly from childhood. I must have been 4 or 5 in them. Same pale blue pajamas I vaguely remember. Same Scooby-Doo blanket we threw out years ago. They weren't just one-off shots. These were taken night after night, year after year. From different angles. Always in bed. Always asleep. Sometimes I was curled up in a ball. Sometimes spread eagle across the mattress. In one photo, I had tears on my cheeks. In another, my mouth was open, eyes fluttering under lids. REM sleep. In yet another, and this one still makes my skin crawl, I was half sitting up, mid-turn, with this twisted look on my face, like I was about to wake up. And yet the camera still caught it. That meant whoever took these had to be standing in my room, watching me. Every single night. There were folders, labeled by year. A few with hashtags. Some just had emojis as names. The most used one? The sleepy face, sleeping face, and the sparkles. Then I found the app. It was still installed. Instagram. It wasn't just a throwaway account. It had 84.3K followers. The username was a dreaming underscore of underscore Alex. The bio read, Peaceful nights. Soft heart. Quiet soul. ZZZ sparkles camera with flash. There were over 3,000 posts. All of me. Sleeping. I felt sick. It was the kind of sickness that starts behind your ribcage. Like your heart is physically trying to claw its way out of your chest. I didn't even know where to start. I scrolled. The comments were full of strangers. Full of praise, of obsession, of things I didn't want to read. Some were innocent enough. So peaceful, angelic, reminds me of my son at that age. But others felt wrong. There was one comment on a photo from 2015. He's grown up so fast. I feel like I've watched him forever. Another. I wait for these every night before bed. It calms me. Thank you for sharing him. Wait. Sharing him? Who was sharing me? Who was posting all of this? I went to the tagged section. None. No one tagged me, obviously. But I clicked on the accounts following list. It followed exactly one person. My mom. Her main account. The one she told me she rarely used. She had over 12,000 followers herself. Almost every post of hers was aesthetic, coffee, flowers, sunsets. But when I scrolled all the way back, the early posts were different. There were captions like, Nighttime peace. Nothing more beautiful than watching your child dream. My angel sleeps. Every night I'm grateful. And then one. It's been almost 10 years. I'll never stop. I dropped the phone. I don't remember sitting down, but I found myself on the hallway floor, back against the wall, staring at the phone still glowing beside me. 10 years. My mom had been posting photos of me sleeping for a decade. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I kept imagining the sound of a phone shutter. That tiny click in the dark. I couldn't confront them. Not yet. I had to understand more. I had to be sure. So I did something I never thought I would do. I created a burner Instagram. Just to follow that account. The dreaming underscore of underscore Alex account was still active. The most recent post? Only 2 days old. It was me. Back home. Passed out on the couch after studying all night. The caption said, Back home for a week. Still my baby boy. And there were 32 comments. All saying how happy they were I was visiting. How grown up I looked. Some said they missed me. Like I was some kind of fictional character. I didn't confront my parents the next day. Or the day after that. Instead, I did something worse. I started studying them. I acted like everything was normal. I laughed at dinner. I watched TV with them. I helped my dad replace the batteries in the smoke detector. But inside, something had cracked. They didn't notice. Or if they did, they didn't say anything. I couldn't stop looking at the account. Every night. I'd wait to see if a new post would go up. Some nights it did. And each time, it was something I hadn't noticed being taken. A shot of me in bed from the hallway. One with a little bit of reflection in the mirror. Another that made me freeze completely, because it was a live photo. A second of motion. In it I stirred, turned my head, and the frame jerked, like the person recording had backed away. I saved that one. Over the next few days, I searched the entire house. Quietly, methodically. I found 3 old iPhones hidden in a box in the basement behind old Christmas decorations. Each had the same lock code. Each had albums labeled Night, Soft, Movement, and Favorites. They all linked back to the same email, dreamparent1982@gmail.com. I googled it. No trace of anything. No Reddit, No Pinterest, no social platforms. But I found something else. In the storage box was a velvet pouch. Inside, there was an SD card and a tiny black USB flash drive with a white sticker that just said, H7. It looked older. The metal was scratched. The plastic casing had faint fingerprints on it. When I plugged it into my laptop in my bedroom that night, a single folder popped up. Dreamlogger_backup. Inside were hundreds of .txt files, and each was just a block of typed text. They looked like logs. Daily logs. Date: March 6, 2013. Subject entered REM at 2:31 a.m. Light murmuring. No restlessness. End of cycle at 3:07 a.m. Dream possibility. Visual unknown. Date: March 7, 2013. Subject rolled onto back. Arms across chest. Whispered, Mom. No video taken. Subject. They were calling me the subject. It was like something out of a lab report, but mixed with this gentle, almost devotional tone. They weren't just studying me. They were worshiping the process. Every entry was like a love letter to stillness, to silence, to sleep. I began reading them nightly. Like a ritual. They described everything, from how many hours I slept, to how many seconds my eyes stayed closed without movement. But one log stood out. It was dated September 14, 2016. Unusual occurrence. Subject sat up, opened eyes, looked directly into lens. Stared. No recognition. Said, What are you doing? Subject appeared confused. Then laid back down. Entry incomplete. No post. I have no memory of that. Not even a trace. But someone recorded it. After that, things began to escalate. I started setting traps. I put a piece of Scotch tape at the bottom of my door. A strand of hair across the hinge. Each night I'd position my phone toward the hallway, just slightly visible in the reflection of my TV. And one night, 2 weeks into the surveillance, I caught it. 3:41 a.m. A shadow. A full figure, standing in the doorway. Long enough to trigger the motion sensor on my app. Then the soft flash. A click. And the figure moved backwards out of frame. Not my mom. Not my dad. The build was different. Taller. Broader. Their arms hung differently. I played the clip 20 times. Then I paused it at 0:03. There, for a split second, the camera caught a face. A partial reflection in the glass of the hallway frame. The person was wearing a mask. A sleep mask? No, too structured. It looked medical. Black. Fabric. Smooth. I couldn't breathe. I didn't sleep that night. Not after seeing the masked figure. I stayed up until dawn, with every light in my room on. At around 5:32 a.m., I heard the coffee machine downstairs start up. Mom, on her usual morning routine. She didn't knock. Didn't say anything about the light under my door. When I came down 20 minutes later, she was scrolling her phone, sipping from her mug. Rough night? She asked, not looking up. I stared at her. Something in me wanted to scream, but I didn't. Instead, I said, Did I ever sleepwalk as a kid? She paused, then smiled, a little too fast. Oh yeah, for a couple of years. Between ages, maybe 5 and 8? Why? Just wondering. I knew she was lying, because I remembered the rules they gave me when I was a kid. Don't open your door at night. If you wake up and feel scared, just close your eyes again. Don't go into the hallway after dark. They called them safety rules. They said I used to have night terrors, but I never remembered walking. I only remembered watching the hallway from the crack under my door, night after night. That day, I called someone I hadn't spoken to in years, my cousin Bethany. She was always the blunt one in the family, the kind who noticed things no one else said out loud. We met at a diner near her job. I didn't waste time. "Did you ever notice anything weird about my parents when we were kids?" Bethany raised an eyebrow. "Define weird." "Like, always filming. Not letting me come to sleepovers. That kind of thing." She leaned back. "Oh, you mean the you're special and fragile thing?" I froze. "What?" "That's what they used to say. That you were different. That your sleep was, how'd your dad put it once, a sacred cycle that shouldn't be disturbed." Weirdest thing I ever heard an adult say. I thought they were just, I dunno, overprotective. Obsessed. She sipped her soda. "Once, when I stayed over, I woke up and your mom was standing outside your room with a notebook. Just standing there. I felt cold spread through my chest." "What time was that?" "I don't know. Late. Maybe 3 a.m.? I was like 10. Didn't think much of it. Back home, I pulled up the flash drive again. I searched all the logs for the word." Bethany. "Only one entry. July 19, 2009. Subject unsettled by cousin's presence. REM delayed. Suspected awareness of monitoring. No recordable data. Do not repeat shared sleep scenario. Consider external alternatives only." External alternatives? I opened another folder I'd overlooked. Archive_2. Inside, there were PDFs, scans of documents. Some handwritten. Others with old government headers, faded logos I didn't recognize. One was labeled Dream Sitter Protocol/Revision 3C/January 1981. It was stamped Retired/Decommissioned. It looked official. Subject must not be allowed to transition into conscious suspicion. Prolonged REM capture yields best results during ages 4 to 19. Guardianship must be sustained by enrolled observers or contracted sitters. Data to be logged locally and uploaded via secure node. Avoid intergenerational breaks unless cleared by handler. Handler? What the hell was this? I googled Dream Sitter Protocol. Nothing. Reverse search the logo, a stylized eye inside a square. Closest match was an old sleep study organization shut down in 1997 for ethical violations. It was based out of New Jersey, where I was born. That night, I finally confronted them. I didn't mean to, but I came downstairs at midnight with a flash drive in my hand. They were in the living room, TV off, just sitting, like they were waiting for me. I held it up. This was in the basement, along with 3 phones and a velvet bag labeled H7. What is this? They didn't answer at first. Then my mom stood, her face pale, calm. I didn't want you to find that. Who is the man in the mask? I demanded. My dad looked at her. Then at me. He's not going to hurt you. That's not an answer. My mom reached into her cardigan and pulled out a small object. A key. Old. Rusted. With a number etched on the side, number 1217. She held it out to me. If you really want to know everything, she said quietly, then tomorrow, go to the attic. I didn't sleep again that night. The key felt heavy in my palm, like it was pulling me towards something I wasn't ready to face. The next morning, I avoided my parents as much as I could. But around noon, I found myself standing in front of the attic door. It was tucked away behind the coat rack in the hallway, a place I had never cared to check before. The door was old and creaked like a haunted house. I tried the key. It fit perfectly. With a deep breath, I turned it, and the lock clicked open. The attic was musty, filled with decades of dust and forgotten memories. Boxes lined the walls, some labeled in fading ink. 1990s, Christmas, old projects. But what caught my eye was a large, metal filing cabinet, painted black, standing in the corner. It looked out of place, too clean, too new. I pulled open the drawers. Inside were folders full of papers, photos, and journals. The top folder was labeled Subject Number 1217, Project Remnant. I sat down on the floor and started reading. Journal entry, January 15, 1984. Subject 1217, hereafter referred to as the Dreamer, has exhibited extraordinary REM activity beyond normative parameters. The Dreamer shows increased alpha wave synchronicity during deep sleep cycles. Initiated Project Remnant to monitor and manipulate dream states for potential cognitive enhancement. Observation: subjects' guardians have been enrolled as sleep sitters to maintain surveillance. Parental compliance is mandatory. I flipped through more pages. There were photos, blurry, black and white images of a young child asleep, hooked up to strange devices. Electrodes attached to the head, wires leading to bulky machines. One photo was dated 1985, and the child looked exactly like me. Another page listed personnel involved in the project. Two names stood out: Dr. Helen Strauss, Agent Marcus Calloway. Neither name rang a bell. But then I found something stranger: a hand-drawn map of our town, with markings, dots connected by lines. Some locations crossed out, others circled in red. Near the edge of the map, a small handwritten note: Safe zones, to be used in case of subject distress. Suddenly, the attic door slammed behind me. I jumped, heart pounding. I was not alone. A shadow moved in the corner of the attic, then stepped forward into the light. It was my dad. His face was grave. "I was hoping you'd find this," he said quietly. "But it's dangerous. Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, voice shaking. He sighed deeply. "Because some truths are too heavy, and some secrets protect us." I looked down at the papers in my hands. "So what is Project Remnant? What were you and Mom really doing all those nights?" He hesitated. "It's complicated, but it involves watching your dreams. Not just watching, protecting, controlling. We were told it would keep you safe. But safe from what?" I demanded. He looked away. "From the nightmares that come from inside and outside. From things no one else understands." Dad sat down on the dusty floor, rubbing his temples like the weight of years pressed on him. "I know this sounds insane," he began slowly, "but you have to understand, it wasn't just for science or some weird experiment. It was bigger, more dangerous." I leaned closer, hungry for answers. "Dangerous how?" He looked me dead in the eyes. "Ever since you were a baby, you've been connected to something. A phenomenon we didn't understand but were told to monitor closely. The project, it wasn't just about your dreams. It was about keeping you tethered." I blinked. "Tethered to what?" He swallowed. "To reality." I sat back, confused and scared. "What do you mean?" He sighed. "There are things, forces, call them what you will, that try to pull people into places they shouldn't be. Some kind of dream realm or alternate dimension. People who get pulled don't come back the same." He looked away, voice lowering. "We were chosen to watch over you because you were sensitive." I felt a cold chill creeping down my spine. "And this Instagram account? The one with the videos of me sleeping?" Mom appeared behind Dad, her eyes glassy but determined. "That was part of the monitoring. We never wanted to hurt you. It was the only way to keep an eye on you, no matter where you were. I closed my eyes and tried to process it. For years, I thought it was some weird parental obsession. Now I realized it was a cage disguised as protection. The next day, I found myself scrolling through the secret Instagram account on my phone, the one they never told me about. The videos were bizarre. Hours of me sleeping, twitching, sometimes talking. Sometimes the camera angle shifted, as if someone was watching me from inside the room. Comments flooded in, thousands of people. Some left strange messages. One comment caught my eye. "The dreamer's tether is weakening. Prepare for transition." I shivered. Who was watching? Who was waiting? And what did they mean by transition? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that comment. "The dreamer's tether is weakening. Prepare for transition." Who wrote it? Why did it feel like a warning? A countdown? I stared at the screen, the videos looping silently. My own face, eyes closed, vulnerable. A sudden ping startled me. A direct message. From an account named Watcher_1217. The message was simple. "It's time to wake up." My heart skipped a beat. I wanted to reply, to ask who they were, what they wanted. But my fingers froze. Instead, I put the phone down and walked to the window. Outside, the street was quiet. The moon hung low and full. I thought about the attic, the files, my parents' secret. About the nights I was told not to leave my room. And the masked man. I realized I was trapped in a story much bigger than me. Something that had started long before I was born. The next day at work, I tried to act normal. But my mind was elsewhere. During lunch, I called Bethany again. "I got a message last night," I confessed. "What did it say?" "It's time to wake up." There was silence. Then she whispered, "That's the same phrase my grandmother used before she disappeared." My blood ran cold. "Your grandmother? What happened?" Bethany's voice shook. "She was part of some group. They called it the Circle. People who believed in the power of dreams and crossing between worlds. Are you saying my family was involved? More than you know. My family was too. They tried to keep us safe, but—" She trailed off. I looked at my phone again. More notifications, more cryptic messages. And I understood. This was no longer just about me or my family. It was about something much darker. Something waiting just beyond the veil of sleep. Days passed, but the messages kept coming. "Wake up! Time is short. Do you feel the pull?" I became obsessed. Scrolling through old family photos, searching for clues. I found faded pictures of my parents with strangers, men and women I'd never met. Some wore badges, others looked like scientists. Their smiles were tight, their eyes guarded. One photo stood out. It was a group picture, probably from the early 80s. My parents were there, younger, hopeful, but there was something off. Behind them, blurred but noticeable, stood a figure in a dark coat. No face. Just a shadow. I showed the photo to my dad. His face paled. "That wasn't supposed to be seen," I pressed. "Who is it?" He shook his head. "Someone who watches. Someone who decides." At night, sleep became a battleground. Dreams were vivid and terrifying. Corridors that twisted impossibly, voices whispering my name, and that same shadow figure watching from a distance. I woke up drenched in sweat, heart racing. Was I losing grip on reality? Or was the warning real? One evening, Bethany called. "We need to meet," she said urgently. "There's someone who can explain." I agreed, nervous but desperate. We met at a quiet cafe, a little after sunset. Bethany introduced me to an older man, his eyes sharp, his presence commanding. "I'm Dr. Ellis," he said. He told us about the Circle, a secret society of researchers and dreamers who had studied the boundaries between waking and sleeping worlds for decades. "Your family was part of an experiment gone too far," he explained. "They tried to protect you from being pulled into what we call the other side." He leaned in. "But the tether weakens. The pull grows stronger." I swallowed hard. "What happens if I wake up?" Dr. Ellis looked grave. "Then you cross the threshold, and sometimes you don't come back." The night I finally decided to confront everything was the darkest of the year. A storm raged outside, thunder shaking the windows like warnings from another world. I sat in my childhood bedroom, the same one where those secret cameras had watched me sleep for years. My phone buzzed again. One last message from Watcher_1217. "It's time." I knew this was the moment, to face the truth, to cross the boundary or fight to stay tethered. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. The room melted away. I found myself in a vast, endless corridor, walls shimmering like liquid glass, stretching beyond sight. The shadow figure stood at the far end, silent but waiting. "Why am I here?" I asked, voice trembling. The figure pointed behind me. I turned to see memories, flashes of my life, my family's sacrifices, the experiments, the hidden Instagram account, the countless nights spent tethered to a fragile reality. "I'm not just a dreamer," I whispered. "I'm a bridge." The figure nodded. "You hold the balance, the tether between worlds." A choice was before me, to step forward and become part of the other side, or to pull back, holding tight to the world I know, even if it means the tether snaps eventually. I opened my eyes. Back in my room, heart pounding, I looked at my phone. No more messages. No more watchers. Just silence. Days later, life felt different. The shadows seemed less menacing. The nightmares faded. My parents never spoke about the project again, but I knew the truth was there, a secret bond that shaped my very existence. Maybe some doors are meant to remain closed. Or maybe the greatest strength is knowing when to simply stay awake. If you ever wonder how much of your life is really yours, maybe, just maybe, some part of you is always being watched, tethered to things beyond your understanding. Thanks for reading. Stay aware.